What up, nerds? It's Mason. Welcome back to another top 10 video. This time I'm really excited to be counting down my top favorite horror films from the year 1982. This was a great year for movies. The first list I did back in August was 1991, which, had its good experiences and its bad experiences. Overall, not a great year for horror films, but it was fun. But as opposed to that year, 1982 was a blast. I ended up watching 38 horror films from the year within the span of about 6 weeks. So it was a really fun marathon to accomplish. A very competitive year. It was kind of difficult to make my top 10 picks. I could easily probably do a top 20, but we're going to keep it simple. There are some films that are missing from this list, but trust me, I enjoyed those films thoroughly. But we're, trying to be as, subjective as possible, picking my favorites. So out of the 38 films, I can only think of 2 that seemed kind of like a waste of time. But every other movie I enjoyed. But these films are my favorites from the year. Again, it's the 80s, so the 80s kills it when it comes to horror films. I'm not sure if 82 would beat 1985 for favorite year from the 80s, but all in all, a solid year. And I watched a lot of new movies, some that I had heard of, some that I never heard of, that I didn't think I'd like, that made my list, and definitely revisited some classics. So I will also be giving away a free brand new Blu-ray, one of the movies that I picked. I have an extra copy that I'd be happy to give away. So stay tuned for that, and let's get it rocking, guys. So at number 10 from the year 1982, I picked The Slumber Party Massacre. Oh yeah, this is it's a short and sweet massacre movie, running at 77 minutes. An escaped mental patient comes along, and he's got a drill, and he drills this girl's basketball team. So it's also directed by a woman, which I thought was interesting for this type of film. Definitely a cult classic that I had to include on my list. I really enjoy Slumber Party Massacre Part 2. It's probably my favorite of the trilogy. Number 3 is pretty whack, but it's okay. It's worth a watch just for fun. But the first one, definitely a classic film, and it was just interesting to see a new type of horror weapon. I don't think we don't see a lot of power drills, so that was different. I mean, definitely, and also because it's an unmasked killer, so that's a different type of killer in terms of most of the slasher movies that we're used to. So that was different, and also, directed by a woman who let all these women get drilled was interesting. So yeah, Slumber Party Massacre. And also, I got a brand new sealed copy of that movie that I'm happy to give away. If you'd like to win it, please just comment below that you're interested, and I'll be happy to send it to you. I'll let this run for a week, so I will close it next Saturday, which is September 26th at 11 p.m. Central. And even if you already have a copy, if you're a horror fan, you might already have one, but you can still win another one to give to a buddy. Christmas is coming up. Who wouldn't want this in their stocking? So let me know if you'd like the chance to win it. And I did rate Slumber Party Massacre an 8.5. And coming up at number 9, definitely a classic, created by the masters of horror, George Romero and Stephen King. It is Creepshow, which is an anthology horror film. I think that it has like 5 short horror stories in it. Obviously, I really enjoy that it's kind of comic book based. I think my favorite one is The Crate, with the weird wolf-like monster. Really good practical effects in this, and just generally all of the shorts are creepy in nature. A classic horror film that anybody should check this one out, man. Of course, Stephen King, George Romero, had to make my list. One of my favorite lines at the end, when the little boy gets revenge on his dad for taking away his comic books and sticks the voodoo doll based on his dad. You know, that's what you get for taking my comic books. It's just classic, an awesome movie. Even at 2 hours long, keeps me entertained the whole time. So another 8.5 film, Creepshow. At number 8 was the first time watch for me that I was really curious about, and it's from definitely an acclaimed horror director, Lucio Fulci. It is The New York Ripper. States it's the most controversial horror film ever made. I'm not sure if that's accurate, but maybe at that time, I don't know. What I really like about this film is the unique killer. I don't think you'll ever see a duck be a serial killer in a movie. So that was very interesting, but kind of a sad twist at the end on its meaning. Definitely some gory kills in this one. There are some parts where I was a little confused on who the killer was. I think there's still some questions that I would need answered at the end, but for the most part, a wonderful horror film from the year. And it's Fulci, so yeah, another 8.5 film right here. Coming in at number 7, another first time watch, again, that I was really curious about because of all of its high praise, and it is Alone in the Dark, with a great cast, Jack Palance, Donald Pleasance, and the awesome Martin Landau. Martin Landau having some great facial expressions in this movie. He was really, really great at being creepy. It's another escaped mental patient movie, done really, really well. Lots of fun. This one really, really deserves a collector's edition Blu-ray. This is kind of like somewhat of a bootleg DVD, it seems like. I think the actual DVD is like really out of print, hard to find, expensive. But this one I got for like $10, and it looked pretty good. But like I said, definitely deserves its own Blu-ray release. Obviously, just a great cast, fun kills, fun, entertaining movie. I think it would be higher on my list if I was more familiar with it, if I had seen it more times, which it definitely deserves repeat viewings. So this is another one that I give an 8.5, Alone in the Dark. Right, coming in at number 6, which is a movie I've seen before and I was happy to revisit it, and it's Basket Case. Wow! This is the Basket Case Trilogy Blu-ray, but just talking about the first one, one of the most unique horror films, especially for its practical effects. It definitely gives new meaning to what's in the basket. It's kind of also a revenge film. It's interesting, the connection of Dwayne and his gruesome twin Belial. And definitely one of the weirdest final scenes I've ever seen. You're just looking at it like, what is going on here? How does that even work? It's a must-watch for horror films. If you've never seen it, you have to watch Basket Case. Very good, New York, 80s atmospheric movie. Just weird, crazy kills. Just an all-around classic horror film that was, had to make my list. The sequels, number 2 definitely has another really, really freaky scene, and has more deformed characters, which can be, creepy and cool looking. Number 2 is cool, it's okay, and number 3 just really goes off the rails. It might be you only need to watch it once, I would think. But a classic horror trilogy anyway, and the first one really stands out. Yeah, that's Basket Case. Rated this one 8.5. And then we're down at the top 5, guys. Number 5 was the last movie I watched in my marathon, and it wasn't even on my list, and until I heard about it, and it had so much high praise, I figured I had to check it out, and it's going to make my number 5 spot. An awesome movie. It's Butcher Baker Nightmare Maker. It also has an alternative title, Night Warning. I don't really think either of those titles really suit the film. I don't know. I guess I would call it like Crazy Ant or something like that. That seems kind of plain, but that's kind of what it is. This, oof. But really, the ant played by the amazing Susan Tyrrell. It was just another awesome performance by like a classic horror actress who really, gave it her all in this performance. An awesome movie. I can't wait to watch it again. It's a movie that I would definitely push on my friends if they would never seen it. It's crazy. The cop in this one is probably the most racist, homophobic cop you'll ever see in a movie. That was pretty cringe. But, it also just added to, the movie and its, horrificness, I guess. But I was so happy that I gave this one a chance and, that I purchased it. But yeah, an awesome, it's kind of, I can't find it to stream. So I think, unless you can dig deeper to find it for free to stream, it's worth the purchase if you're a horror fan. A truly awesome movie here, so it's making my number 5 spot. It could probably go higher with repeat watches as well, but really enjoyed it. It also has a young Bill Paxton, so that was cool. And number 4, probably the most surprising film to make my list. I watched it again near the end of my marathon, and I remember looking at it like, this movie's probably gonna suck, it's a sequel. And it blew my mind, and it's going to make my number 4 spot. It is Amityville 2, The Possession. And I would also say, like, it's probably the scariest movie that I watched out of all 38 films from 1982. One that really, affected me. I love horror films and, movies in general for the experience of it, how it makes you feel. I love horror films. Most of the time, I would say they don't really scare me. And sometimes that's why I like to watch new ones to see if it will. I usually just enjoy them for the special effects and the performances. And it's a rare when one will actually kind of scare me. It'll make it hard to sleep. Have nightmares, and this one was, it was an experience, man. So truly, it really surprised me, and especially like, of course, the original Amityville. It's a good movie, classic movie, freaky movie, but it never terrified me. So I didn't really know what to expect from this one, and being it's a sequel, those usually get a bad rap, but wow, a lot better than the original. It's a must-watch. It's another one that I would push on my friends, especially Halloween's coming up. If you're looking for one to give you a nice scare, this is the one right here. Kind of, sort of an Exorcist ripoff, but it really doesn't in its own way. A lot of fun. I remember when the movie was over, I was kind of relieved when the credits roll. I kind of like exhaled a little bit. I was like, man, it's finally over, dude. It was crazy. One that stuck in my mind for days after. And I was like, definitely a movie I'd watch again. But I don't need to for a little while. It was pretty freaky. And sometimes haunted house movies can, freak me out a little bit, especially because I, basically live in a basement. It made it hard to go to sleep. I'm not gonna lie, it was so scary. I don't see this one streaming for free anywhere, but I did see it on Amazon Prime for $3.99. And if you don't have if you can't find the DVD or something, and you're looking for something freaky to watch for October, rent the damn movie for $3.99. See what I'm talking about. A great movie that I would rate a 9.0, but really scary. I loved it, man. All right, number 3, a fitting at number 3 pick, which is Friday the 13th, Part 3. So I'm just showing off my little DVD collection here, but I'm talking about Friday the 13th, Part 3, 3D. It had to be high on my list because, it's just cult classics at its best. It's Jason. It's Friday the 13th. And Friday the 13th Part 3 kind of battles with Part 4 in my favorite of the whole series. Really enjoy the music in this one, the theme. I think it's one of the best horror themes and probably the best theme music out of all the Jason movies. And the final sequence chase is one of the best like horror chases out of any movie I've seen. Very thrilling. I love when she's in the boat at the end, you know, when he pops up without his mask on and looking all ugly and you know, he kind of smirks at her from the window. Oh, what a great scene. And she just goes, no, he can't be alive. He can't be alive. Oh, it's such a great scene. Even if like you hadn't seen like the first couple of Friday movies, you could still watch Friday Part 3 and enjoy it, I think, it's just a classic horror watch. Yeah, so that's my number 3 pick. Had to make the list. Really enjoyed it. And you know what else I'm really excited for is the box set coming out on October 13th. So then I can, you know, get rid of this crappy little DVD set. But I'm so excited for that. It's such a great looking box set. A series that really deserves something like that. So yeah, go Jason. He can't be alive. All right, number 2, classic film here that I was happy to revisit. I hadn't seen it. I think I'd only seen it like one other time way back in the day. But I did remember it as one of the best. And it's Poltergeist, of course. Poltergeist, an interesting thing about Poltergeist is that it was rated PG-13. Actually, wow, no, it says PG on here. I thought it was PG. And a lot of guys talk about how if it was made today, it would never get that low of a, you know, of a rating. It would have to be at least PG-13, especially for like the gore in it. It's just a classic horror film. It's almost, you know, perfectly done. It is, you know, a Steven Spielberg production directed by Tobe Hooper, which seems a little tame for a Tobe Hooper film who's known for like Texas Chainsaw Massacre. But it definitely has that Steven Spielberg film or feel of just a very well put together movie. You know, one of the greatest horror movie quotes of "This house is clean." And then just all the drama behind the scenes is interesting about this movie. What's also good about this movie is it's a good example of a horror movie that you would want to introduce somebody to horror with, especially like maybe young kids. So that's always, you know, fun to have in your back pocket. But yeah, Poltergeist had to be high on my list. Loved it. Classic. And I gave it a 9.0 rating. All right, number 1. It's a pretty basic bitch pick, but it's so awesome. It has to be number 1, guys. And it's John Carpenter's The Thing with the man Kurt Russell. Another one like Poltergeist that I hadn't seen for a long, long time, but really enjoyed revisiting it, especially on a nice Blu-ray. Just about damn near a perfect film. Perhaps, you know, sometimes considered one of John Carpenter's best. What really makes this film a masterpiece is the practical effects of the creature. You know, when you watch the newer one, the CGI really kills it, but what they could do with practical effects in this one was really impressive. The performances, the whole mystery of the movie is really engaging. One of the best scenes in horror ever is when the thing, it's that guy's, you know, severed head, and it sprouts little spider legs and little eyeballs and starts to scurry away, and all the guys see it, and one of the guys goes, "You've got to be fucking kidding me." And it's just exactly what anybody would say if they saw some weird shit like that, and they torch it. But an awesome movie with a great mystery, lots of cool theories surround this movie. One of my favorites is that McGreedy is actually the thing, but it makes it fun for repeat watchers because you can kind of, you know, you can go over and try to think for yourself, you know, who is the thing, when are they the thing, what made them the thing. And really the ambiguity of how the movie ends is a lot of fun, and kind of also might back up the theory that McGreedy is the thing. I don't think that he's the thing. I don't know, but that's just part of what makes the movie fun, is you can theorize for yourself. An awesome movie, easily my number one pick from 1982, and a must watch. So much fun. Yeah, John Carpenter, of course, kills it. But man, and you know, honorable mentions to movies that didn't make it, like Halloween 3 and Tenebrae and Pieces. The Forbidden World was a lot of fun. I had so much fun with this marathon, guys. So many movies that you guys need to see if you haven't already. And I think that next I might try to do 1985 just in comparison to see which year I really did enjoy more. So yeah, I thank you guys for watching. Had a lot of fun. Comment below what are your favorites, and also remember to comment below if you'd like to win a copy of Slumber Party Massacre Blu-ray. Alright guys, keep it nerdy, keep it creepy. Peace.